Yes, welcome to the No State Project live for November 8th, 2017. It's episode 41 of the No State Project here, commercial free on my YouTube channel, which is, of course, No State Project. And glad to be with you here. Got the call line, I think, squared away for this show. So, first time on one computer the way it's supposed to be, because that's the point of having a mixer, right? But you're here for an hour of Anarchy Radio. Glad everyone can tune in here. Is anyone tuning in? We are streaming. I want to point out that I will be deleting this live stream video because I am getting much better video, so I'm going to go back to doing that. So don't be alarmed if the live stream is pulled, but I will immediately be replacing it with this video that I've got on right now. So to get a few things out of the way, the call line is 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. The passcode is 2020, or with the pound sign, or 2020 hashtag. So that'll get you into the queue. And also, we've got Frank Rizzo 3 on Skype, which is always a good way to connect. Please always instant message me first. Okay? And if you have any questions or comments, you can always, and you are not able to come on the show, then you're able to throw them up there. And dissent is always welcome. So if there's something that I presented here on the big show or on my website, markstevens.net, and you don't think that that's good, that's true, if you see a flaw in the evidence isn't what it really says, or there's a flaw in the logic, please give us a call, 218-632-9399, passcode 2020, or you can instant message me at Frank Rizzo 3. It's Frank Rizzo with the number 3. Remember, we got Libertopia coming up. 2018 in San Diego will be the weekend of May 3rd through May 6th. And I will be speaking. I don't have a schedule. Don't know yet. It's a little early. But we're going to certainly do what we can to get a blues jam going with Bill and the guys from Barnwell Swift of Living Tea Brewing Company right there in Oceanside. I'm hoping to get back there again soon. And let you know, we're not going to have a live show this Saturday, most likely. If we are going to have a live show, then I will put that on markstevens.net. And so hopefully we are able to do that. So whatever we missed today, we are able to then make up for when we do the show for 3 hours on, that's the LRN.FM broadcast. I do want to get to your calls. I'm going to get to a call in just a moment. Oh, we got a new caller. I didn't get to talk about the IRS on the last show. I did talk about taxes, state tax stuff, but I do have an update on the IRS bullies. And I got to tell you, I'm not going to give any details just yet. I'll get to the calls, but oh man, this is a personal flaw of mine, if you want to call it a flaw. I really hate when people lie to me. I mean, I hate it. But what I hate more than that is when somebody knows that I'm lying. I've called them out on it, and they don't care. They just keep lying. They don't correct me. They don't say, "How dare you accuse me of a felony, you anarchist bastard, you." No. They just don't care. Imagine having the goods on somebody that they committed numerous felonies that could put them in prison for 10 to 12, 15 years. And they don't care. Why? Because they don't have to. Because it's the IRS. And a little bit of searching on the internet will show you that the only time that the IRS goes to jail for what they do on the job is if they embezzle money from the IRS or from the government. So if they cheat their bosses, they go to jail. They cheat us, they lie and whatnot. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So we'll talk about how it's not just that the IRS is a terrorist organization and deeply, deeply corrupt and dishonest. There's also, but they have a support system why they were able to get away with this stuff. And so I will show, and we'll go through this, have documented evidence. There is no question that they are making false statements. No question. The only real question is, why aren't they being prosecuted? They don't care. They don't give a damn. They don't care. Ay. I mean, how many times have you heard us anarchists say they don't care? And so here, I'm going to use this as an example to show nothing nothing may happen here. There's a good chance nothing is going to be done regardless of the evidence. So, but I'll get to that. I want to get to some calls. We have area code 904. You're live on the No Stay Project. What's your name? Where you calling from?
You talking to me there, Mark?
I'm talking to you, tough guy.
Yeah, this is Jeff Dory up in Iowa.
Jeff in Iowa. What do you got for us today?
Well, I emailed you. I am going on my reconsideration on Monday. And you were saying, well, give me a call during the show, and you would kind of help me through or prep me for the court.
All right. Now, when you say reconsideration...
I sent in your kit, your motion to dismiss, and I sent the cops their little notes and stuff. And so, yeah, I have a reconsideration on Monday.
You actually have a hearing on a reconsideration on the denial of the motion to dismiss?
Yeah, I already filed a motion to dismiss, and they denied it.
Right,
and I sent in yours, and now they're doing it again. We're going to have a reconsideration on it. So I guess we're going to go, and I'm going to see if the prosecutor has the evidence is what's going on, I suppose.
Well,
if he has the evidence that, the corpus delicti or whatever,
well, we don't even have to mention corpus delicti. I know that there is somebody who is absolutely obsessed with me who just put up another video claiming to debunk Mark Steven. Okay, I mean, I've already gotten like 4 videos that go through line by line and show that it's ridiculous. But the issue with the corpus delicti has to do with an act and a result. It has to do with the violation of a legal of the code that results in damage, and it means it's the body of the crime itself. And they try to weasel their way out and say, well, corpus delicti, while it's a requirement for every criminal prosecution, by every, there are exceptions. So they say the tax cases or license type things, they don't have to, and that's their own codes, their own sacred writ says, every criminal prosecution, it must be a corpus delicti, which in an adversary system, of course, everybody, that makes sense, because to be a true adversary, whether it's civil or criminal, remember, right, Jeff, the adversarial system is whether it's civil or criminal. It comprehends all of it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they tell us.
I guess I'm not that well rehearsed. I know mine is a criminal offense,
right?
And it's a license offense. So.
Well, it's an adversary system. The court system in the United States, Canada, Australia, and England are adversarial systems. They're not considered inquisitorial. They're adversarial. And the Supreme Court has told us, if you look like in the motion, I have this, to be a true adversarial proceeding between two bona fide adversaries, it's not just one person or two people disagreeing. There's something very, very specific going on here. There has to be the antagonistic assertion of rights. They're saying, I have a right to X, jackass over here violated it, causing me to be damaged. So that would make a true adversary, if there's evidence to actually support that accusation. So whether it's civil or criminal, you got to have that. So that's why corpus delicti is so important in criminal proceedings, why they say that every criminal prosecution, and of course in their scumbag manner, they'll turn, well, we're going to start carving out exceptions. Stop saying every criminal prosecution then, at least be somewhat honest. Say in some criminal prosecutions, you bastards. So, so what you want to hit here, and this is a main point that we talk about here on the big show, is the foundational claim of the prosecution. What is the foundation claim of the prosecution that sets the relevance for everything else he's going to argue?
His jurisdiction is what he's trying to determine. And
in jurisdiction, well, not jurisdiction, there's something that forms their jurisdiction. And not only is it the basis of territorial personam and subject, it is also of subject matter jurisdiction, because they're claiming a code violation. So what is the basis of their claim that there's jurisdiction? What particular argument are they making?
Well, I haven't went there to see what their argument is, but I'm sure it's going to say that it's territorial.
Well, they're going to say that because you're physically in Iowa, that
these codes apply to me.
There you go. And that, I believe, is where our focus has to be, because if they can't prove that their code applies to you, could there possibly be a valid cause of action against you?
Right. It's a commercial code anyway, so how could it apply to a private individual?
Don't get into that Patriot type of stuff.
Okay.
Do you have any evidence whatsoever that their criminal code only applies to commercial activity?
Well, I can't wait to go and see what's going on.
Well, I would say this. I'll tell you this, Jeff. You only want to argue against, or challenge rather, what they're actually arguing against you. So if they actually come out and say, look, this is a criminal code that only applies to commercial activity and it applies to Jeff, that's then something for you to then attack and challenge. But if they don't, there's no reason to. We know from experience, and I've got enough video and audio on markstevens.net, that we know what their argument is. We know. I even have the official position of the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. The official position is no different than any other bureaucrat I've spoken to. It's always the same. If you're physically in Iowa, our laws apply. Right. We're not making an assumption. That is what they're actually arguing. So stick to what they're actually attacking you with, and you're going to do a hell of a lot better. This other stuff, well, it's only criminal. I mean, the criminal code is only for commercial. How does this stuff continue to live 30 years after it's been thoroughly debunked? This idea that everything is commerce. No, not everything is commerce. Okay, I sleep every night with my beloved wife. I love that. Is that commerce?
No. No, that's not commerce at all.
It's not. So the idea, the very foundation of these stupid claims has no merit whatsoever. Everything is commerce. No, not everything is commerce. Commerce is buying and selling and trading. Not everything is buying. What we're doing here on the radio right now, is this commerce?
No, nobody's making any money.
No one's trading any. Yeah, we're not. We're just talking. So, yeah, you could have radio shows that are engaged in commerce. You're hooking people up with barters and whatnot. But we're not doing that. So, for you and everybody listening, if there's no evidence and there's no rational basis to something, don't use it, because when you're going in there, you're going against predators. These people want to hurt you, and it's only going to do you or I a disservice to go in and start using claims or arguments that are going to make you look like a sovereign citizen freeman on land type. We're not going to do that. The only arguments we're going to be challenging are the ones they're actually using against you. Now, we know that that's the foundation of the claim, because they're saying you violated the code, right?
Right.
Right. So what's the authority for the code?
Authority.
Well, according to them, what is the basis of their code? Where does the code get its authority from?
Well, the police have the authority to arrest me for violating the code, I guess.
Based on what?
Well, just based on because they're reading the code.
But it's because of the Constitution. They're saying that because the Constitution authorized the legislature to create these laws out of whole cloth. So it all goes back to
the police. To enforce it and all this other.
It all goes back to that written instrument. Nobody bothered to sign. So that's the foundation. They'll even tell you that. It'll be, if they ever respond, which I know I'm behind on these videos. I get that. But if you go back to the show I did in Oceanside, I was reading directly from a prosecutor's response, and you can go into my videos on my YouTube channel. They're also embedded as articles in markstevens.net. You can see actual response from prosecutors, and they'll say in no uncertain terms that Constitution is the basis of their authority for their statutes, for whether they're codes, whether they're commercial or whatnot. It all goes back to the same crap. So that's why we focus our attention on the foundation, because you're going to find. What day do you go in on this?
Monday. Monday.
Okay. So you still got you got to get into the No State Project Skype chat. You got to do your role playing. So
yeah, that's Skype.
Yeah. So you can Skype me at Frank Rizzo 3, and I can put you in. There's over 400 members now. Or what you can do is you can go to markstevens.net. There's a link directly to it on the upcoming events, which Damn, I need
Okay.
to I really need to update that. So, oh, and I want to answer Gatson, who I really need to get back to. It's been a horrendous week. But we want to always use lay terms. So that's we're asking them so that you're going in and you're not going to use the word state unless they use it. And then, but we'll get to that if we need to. You want to know, and based on, and this is in the motion to dismiss, what evidence does the prosecution have to prove that just because you're physically in Iowa, that their Constitution, a mere written instrument, applies to you and creates obligations?
Right.
And so that would be, so I think we went over this the other day with, I think, Trevor. And what you know, because when you first go in there, you have this motion pending. So we'll see if you've been paying attention. If the judge says, do you have anything to add to your motion, sir? What are you going to say?
Well, I guess I don't have anything to add that I, maybe I'm sounding dumb to you, but
No.
I've been watching your videos and everything, but anything to add? I want to see the evidence is what I want to see.
There you go. That's all you want. That's what you. I would say yes. I want to see the evidence. Yes or no? Does the prosecution have the evidence to overcome the motion? Yes or no? That's what I want to see the evidence.
Yeah.
You got it. Don't beat yourself up.
Okay. Cool.
What I would say is that with the role playing will help so that you don't feel flustered. So because if I'm asking you questions and and you're a little unsure. When you get into the Lions, then you might be.
I talked to you on the phone here a while back. I talked to you for that hour or whatever. And when the judge said I was in the jurisdiction, I didn't know what the hell to tell him.
First word.
I froze.
First word, Jeff. Objection.
Right.
And like I may have pointed out to you before, when he says that, objection, is that because you said so or because the prosecution's evidence does?
Right. Yep. And it's because he said so. Of course, he thought he wants me in the jurisdiction, so of course it's whatever,
Yeah. However,
he'll say whatever it takes.
Yeah. The thing is, this is supposed to be fair and based on the prosecution's evidence. So yes, it may be that you have to appeal this, but you're now getting statements from the judge that you can use against them. So if you have to file a motion to change the judge, you have his actual statements. Well, what the hell makes you think that you can't get a fair hearing from this guy? Well, I asked him if jurisdiction was based on his say-so or the prosecution's evidence. And he said, because he said so. So I can't possibly get a fair trial from somebody who's going based on his own opinion instead of the evidence. I mean, this is, that's basic.
It makes all kinds of sense.
Yeah, that's due process 101, for heaven's sakes. I mean, any half idiot should be able to do, well, that doesn't look too fair to me.
I've been railroaded so many times it ain't even funny.
Hey, I understand it, my friend. I still have not gotten, I read through all the details. Somebody, I don't know if he wants his name read on the air. We're going to call him Steve for today. Asked the question, went to jail for 10 days. Asking a question. Yeah. So, I'll get more details and report them as I can. All right. Well, let's holy crap. We are really popular today. All right.
Well, I'm going to go on your markstevens.net. I'm going to try to do this role-playing deal.
Well, yes, you can use the link to get into the Skype chat.
Do another caller if you want to. I mean, that's not a big deal, but I mean, I want to get this figured out so I know what to do when I go in there on Monday.
Okay, well, we'll take one other question. I mean, what's your main concern here? What's something that you're most confused about or unsure about?
Well, if he doesn't know anything about the evidence, then I guess I'm home free. And if it's corpus delicti, if there's got to be an injury or loss, or else it ain't a criminal act.
Well, but all right, Jeff, you don't have to get into that. You can show that there's no evidence of jurisdiction and a cause of action without using the words corpus delicti. Okay. And in my experience, we're better off doing that anyway because it gives them a reason to argue, the definition or the legal implication of that. And I'd rather that we don't do that. Does the prosecution have the evidence, yes or no? It's an essential element of a code violation that the Constitution and code apply, right? Thank you, sir. Okay, great. Does the prosecution have any evidence, any proof at all to support the assertion? Because if he's going to argue, and this is a constant theme on the show, because it happens every day, if he's going to say something like the prosecution doesn't have to prove that, sir, you're going to counter with?
If you can prosecute me with assertion without evidence, then you can be denied without evidence.
Well, what you want to ask him is, are you allowing the prosecution to argue against me without evidence? You are, really. And that's fair? So you're going to allow me to make accusations against the prosecution, and I don't need any evidence then?
There's no way.
There's no way. And what you want to say is, I want you to tell me right now in plain English why I can't argue without evidence, but the prosecution can.
Right.
Oh, is it because he's making one hell of a doozy of a legal accusation? Is that it? He's making such a wild accusation against you, one that is impossible.
On a railroad and take me to jail. That's what they want to do.
Sir, how can we prosecute you? And to paraphrase Maria Del Terrio from the New Hampshire Economic Security Department, how could we prosecute anybody if we had to prove the laws applied? We couldn't prosecute anybody.
That's right.
Which is all that it's bound. So, yeah, definitely do the role playing, but keep in mind, everything out of their mouth is a lie, and you need to challenge it. You object, and you ask them a question to bring out that they're lying. So, just like with this IRS woman here today, I tell you, one of the worst things that they can do to us is be specific, which is why they will try to stay as vague as possible with you. And you're going to find that out on Monday, so you definitely call me Monday or leave me a message and say I'm okay. This IRS agent today got specific with me, and that was the downfall. She actually admitted basically to committing a felony. And because it's just like if they say, sir, the evidence is in the ticket. It's in the complaint. I'll tell you what, cite it. Cite it, I'll plead guilty right now. Cite it. And that's where you get them. When they say the evidence is in the ticket or it's on the police report, cite it. This woman here today, I said, could you give me I said, I'm very familiar with that. I'm very familiar. I've seen it online many, many times. Can you give me the subsection? I mean, it's that easy to show how dishonest these bullies are. So that's what you need to do there. Always get them to verify the claims that they're making against you. If they say, sir, all right, real quick, the last thing, because we're really getting, wow, we got a lot of calls. If the judge just denies the motion and gives you no explanation, you're going to what?
I've been down that road so many times, and I don't know what the hell to say. I just say, well, I'm going to object to it.
Yeah,
and I'm going to follow that. Eliminate? Is that what it is? Eliminate?
In limine, but not yet. The judge is in a bad spot here. He only has men with guns to protect him from looking really bad.
Well, if he's going to deny, I'm going to say prove it, I guess.
No, what you want to say is objection. So your position is the prosecution has presented sufficient evidence to prove the code applies just because I'm physically in Iowa. You have to keep the focus on the prosecution and their burden of proof. The only way to overcome the motion, because it's written based on a lack of evidence, is to present the evidence or a rational justification for why they don't need, excuse me.
Right.
You need a rational justification for why evidence isn't required. And the only rational explanation you have for making a legal argument without evidence is if you're making a theoretical issue of law, as opposed to a practical. There's always evidence required for a practical issue, and you don't need evidence for a theoretical because you're just talking about what the law says, trying to talk about what the law means, what it requires. Once you apply it to somebody, you need evidence. It's just like you and I can stand there, and this is something you're probably going to need to do. You can accuse the prosecutor of prosecutorial misconduct. You can accuse the judge of judicial misconduct, but you have to have evidence to prove it's true. They think they can just say prosecutorial misconduct. It's prosecutorial misconduct. Yeah, but what's your evidence? You committed misconduct. They never give you any specific facts to prove it. But you and I, we need to do that. But keeping that in mind, that's what you're doing there. It's just like a tax case when they turn around and say, well, you're guilty of tax evasion. Where's your evidence? You didn't pay taxes. But where's your evidence I'm guilty of tax evasion and violated tax evasion?
Right.
So I wish we had more time, but I'm
going to go on that parkstevens.net and see about getting into this role-playing deal.
Good. They'll really, it'll really help. You're going to need to do that. And so good luck with that. If you have any other questions, just Skype me or email me, and we'll do what we can to get you prepped for Monday.
Thanks, Mark.
No problem. Good luck. Appreciate the call, Jeff, in Iowa. Motoring along here, we've got area code 219. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Brother, I think you're talking to me, but this is Gary, and I'm in Louisiana, but the phone number's in Indiana. If that makes any sense.
Well, I didn't know where 219 was, but that's fine. So what do you got for us today?
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, it just keeps going. This line's unmuted. This line's muted. It's unmuted. So, my bad.
No, you're in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my situation, brother, is I got a ticket in Michigan. I am commercial driver, 18-wheeler, and I guess the incident that I'm everything on the ticket, they got my name misspelled, they got my address misspelled, they don't have my correct address, everything on the ticket. Not really opposing to all that, but I think there's a way out of it. I'm not sure, not positive, but mine was. A vehicle was in my blind spot on my right side, on my passenger side, and his headlight didn't work. Where I've got a mirror out on my fender where I could have seen that car. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, but with his headlight not on and not working, which I presented to the cop, and he said, "Oh, that don't matter." He said, "You did a unsafe lane change," and I'm like, "Oh, I had my turn signal on." And if he would have had his headlight on, that I could have seen him over there, I'd have never hit him. But anyways, they wrote me out a ticket. Didn't write him out a ticket, period, even for the headlight being out. I checked the Michigan motor vehicle code, and a vehicle cannot be on the interstate if it doesn't have proper headlighting. So I don't know where to stand here other than everything is wrong on the ticket. My address is wrong. They got me down as a Native American. I'm not an Indian, and I don't know if I got a leg to stand on or what.
Was the cop drunk when he wrote the ticket?
No, and also, brother, I called the courthouse, and there is not. I asked to see who's the prosecutor handling this case. The lady said there's not going to be one. It's just going to be you, the magistrate, and the police officer.
Cool.
That's it.
It's the cops are usually protected by the prosecutor, and here the judge has to shamelessly protect the cop. The cop is the prosecutor, and he's not just the witness. And so if he doesn't want to defend his ticket, that's fine if you start making challenges. So your motion to dismiss, which I would do, the motion to dismiss and discovery request goes to the police officer at the police department. And that's how you still bring up and you can add in all the other defects on the ticket. A lot of places, and this happened in Michigan, I would say they're probably going to say that those are harmless errors. Even though he's gotten most of the information wrong, like he wrote the ticket. It's almost like he took the information from the previous ticket and put it on your ticket. But I'm just throwing that out as a reason why so much of the ticket is wrong. So it's like the olden days with the carbon. It's like, what the hell? Did it go through to the ticket underneath there, and he just gave you the ticket with the other guy's information on it?
Right. Now, can a police officer be a prosecutor and a witness both?
Yeah, they're allowed to do that.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
It's sort of like when people call up and say, well, the cop is practicing law. Yep. And if you look in their rules, there's an exception that police officers and tax agents, okay, if something within the scope of their official duties falls under the definition of the practice of law, they're able to do it. And that's why police officers can act in a representative capacity for a corporation, and they don't get the unauthorized practice of law. They're not qualifying to do it by a long shot. And, oh, well, Mark, how do you know? Well, because every time I've questioned a police officer, either they admitted to not being qualified or a tax agent, or their lawyer did for them, and the judge confirmed it. That's how I know. So they are legally allowed to do that. There's an exception for it. So, that's not where we are going after the lack of evidence, though, and his qualification to make the statement.
Okay.
Right.
Now, would this same thing apply to me, where how does your laws apply to me just because I was physically in Michigan, but I am a commercial driver?
Yeah, the problem with being a commercial driver is that they could just yank your license. And you can lose your job.
Really?
Sure. They could do that. They can yank anybody's license. And the thing is, what are we gonna do? And I can imagine, what the hell are you gonna do here, tough guy? You're gonna go and you're gonna fight to get your driver's license back, saying that there's no evidence, the laws apply to you? But fungal. That's what they're gonna say. But yeah, they can yank your license. They do it all the time. I don't work with too many people where they do that, but here the commercial driver's license throws. That's kind of, You have to keep in mind that you may get it tossed out, but they may also suspend your license or yank your license.
Okay. Well, we don't want them to yank my license. I've been doing this 30 years. This is the first quote unquote accident I had. Nobody was injured. I just damaged their car. There was no, physical damage to either one of us, but there was damage to his car.
Did you take care of the damage?
The company did.
The
insurance company.
And so you got a disinterested third party who's just trying to profit off of it. Well, you have to weigh your options. You may want to do the motion to dismiss with the discovery request and get some leverage on the police officer and see if he's willing to throw you a deal. He might even be wanting to drop it, not want to bother with you and go through the expense.
Okay, so that's who I need to write to, because even the police officer, I mean, he was a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but he said he was not going to write up on the police report that the guy didn't have his headlight working.
Yeah, and nice guy. So he's not gonna take your testimony about that. He's just gonna leave that detail out. He's not even gonna say that you alleged that. He just left that. Yeah, really, stand up guy there. So
well, what I did though, brother, is he gave me one of his cards. It's a Portage police officer. Now he's just a local cop. I don't know if that has anything to do with it neither, because he should be DOT qualified, dealing with a commercial vehicle, but I'm not sure. And what I had him do is sign on the back of this card that the headlight on the Taurus was out, and he signed it. So it's not going to be on the police report, but I do have his business card with his writing on the back of it. He says, it's not going to matter. And I said, well, I would like to have it anyways. So he did do that, and I've got it.
Doesn't sound like a very smart cop, but all right. Well, hey, you may have to. It may be where you have to argue this one on the merits, and something like that. You'd probably, I would hope to think that you could prevail by showing, hey, he didn't have his headlights on. He's actually in the wrong here. So, but I would file the motion to dismiss and the discovery request with the police officer to maybe get some leverage so that he may be a lot more open to a deal, because otherwise he really doesn't have. It really doesn't have any motivation to make a deal with you, other than, so give it a shot.
Right, because you, I know but anyways, I can't afford the points on my license.
Sure.
And one more accidental mistake, I could lose my license for 6 months to a year. And I'm worried about the points. I'm not really worried about the money, and I know that sounds stupid, but it's a point. It's a purpose now. And I've been watching your videos and everything, and It usually doesn't have anything to do with commercial, you know, people like me driving a semi. It usually has more to do with, you know, traveling and
Well, come
personal
on,
driving,
but
stuff
Gary,
like that.
there's no evidence either way. So whether you're engaged in actual commerce, it doesn't matter. Just because you're engaged in commerce on the road, does that make a written instrument from 200 years ago apply to you and create obligations on you? I still don't see how the one leads to the other logically, because it doesn't. So I wouldn't even, you know,
Right.
I don't even like to make that, because, hey, if you start making arguments like that, and I'm just, you know, I'm just for sake of argument, they're just going to paint you as a sovereign citizen lunatic, and they're just going to rule against you, and they go, well, let this guy appeal it. Well, you know, he's a sovereign citizen, and they lose. They lose every time. So, yeah, you're going to have to weigh your options there. I think I would still try to get some leverage with them and try to make a deal. You know, making it. This is what sucks about. It's like with DUIs. In a lot of cases, that's where your only real remedy is making a deal.
All right. So you say motion to what?
I have a motion to dismiss, and it comes with a discovery request.
Dismiss and discovery request. Okay. And how can I look all this stuff up?
Well, I have a ton of information on my website about it. There's videos about it. If you want to order it, it's under the store. So it's pretty. And if there's any problems, anyone ever has a problem, if you have a question, just email me, markstevens@mail.com. Or Skype me at frankrizzo3, and we'll take care of that.
Okay, you said that real fast, brother.
Sorry.
I got Mark. I'm sorry, but I'm driving. So
you shouldn't be doing that. That could get you another ticket. It's
right. I'm good, brother.
It's Mark Stevens. Mark Stevens at mail.com.
At L? Like
mail.
E-L?
No, mail.
Oh, okay. Mark Stevens at mail.com?
That's it.
No Gmail or?
Nope.
I mean, just mail?
Nope. There's a Mark
okay.
Stevens at Gmail. There is a Mark Stevens at Gmail. He is an anarchist. He does listen to the show, but he is not the same guy. So.
Okay, Mark Stevens at mail. All right, I've never heard that. Okay, .com. Gotcha.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call.
All right.
Thanks, Gary.
Hey, thanks.
Yep, Gary in Louisiana. A little adventure in legal land up there in Michigan. I think we've got Connecticut. It's area code 832. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're live on the show. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Roger Hicks.
Roger, where are you calling from?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
Manchester. Welcome to the big show today. What can I do for you today?
Hey, I appreciate it. Here's my situation. I'm on federal. I did a 3-year bid in the feds, and when I came home, I had to sign a separate set of documents for supervised release. But I signed them under duress.
Okay.
I told my supervisor, my PO, and my PO's manager that I don't want to sign this. I don't believe that I should be signing this, and I signed the document. Well, I signed it under duress.
Okay.
My question comes down to if they try to violate me for just say I have a beer and they want to violate me, since there is no person that's been, I believe it's still a criminal charge, but there's no injured party. How can they still violate me?
As a condition of your release.
Okay.
And, you can say it was under threat, duress, and coercion, and the facts definitely bear that out. There's no question about that. They're not going to give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, you would have to file a petition for writ to challenge the validity of the conviction, which...
Okay.
How much longer are you on probation?
3 years? Well, no. I'm 5 months in on a 36-month supervised release.
So, still about 2.5 years left to go.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that would be really, really tough to do because they could just retaliate and make something up to get you back in, and violate you because they're pissed off that you're challenging it in court. So it's really got to be something on principle for you to take that risk.
So I mean, basically, they had me by they just, even though I didn't sign it. And again, from my understanding is I signed it on. It's not my signature. It's my handwriting under duress. That means nothing.
Well, the thing is, it was a condition of your release, and they're not ever going to turn around and say, "Well, you're technically correct, sir, so we're going to let you go." They're just going to say, you know what, you don't like the fact that you signed it on the threat, duress, and coercion. We didn't have to give you probation anyway, and we'll just put you in for the duration. And we're sorry to to threaten you with that. Yeah, you could take a chance. I mean, what happened? Did you have have this taken up on appeal? I mean, was there any appeal taken here?
Well, no. I wrote a 2255 motion in the feds for ineffective. I'm sorry, we're getting double for ineffective counsel.
Okay.
The federal lawyer lied. Like, I have all the documentation. He lied. There's a list of things that he didn't do that he was supposed to do. I'm a 9/11 survivor. There's a whole bunch of things. It happened to be a bank situation, so he charged me under bank robbery. But I have severe post-traumatic stress syndrome. He didn't try to get me a downward departure. They charged me with a gun, even though I never had a gun. It was pretty much a disaster. I wrote a 2255, which is my ineffective counsel. When I went
real quick, Roger, I just wanted to jump in and let people know, and I'll have this in the video. The 2255 is a statutory habeas corpus petition.
Correct. That is correct. So it took 8 or 9 or 10, 9 months to get it going. I had my evidentiary hearing, and they made me get another lawyer.
Okay. But
he lied in front of the judge. He first said he didn't try to get me the downward departure because of X, Y, and Z. In the sentencing hearing, it's sitting in my motion. It's sitting in my transcript. But because I went after him, he said the reason why he didn't try to do it was A, B, and C, which he denied during my sentencing. But when I tried to address it with the court, because I had a lawyer, and I asked the judge, well, can I also bring something to your attention? I said, Your Honor, X, Y, and Z, here's what he stated during the sentencing hearing, and then he's using the opposite of that for the reason why he didn't do A, B, and C. And so as I said that, she shut down the motion. She shut down the 2255 hearing and denied me.
Did you appeal that?
No, she wrote back and said I didn't have an appealable offense. I didn't have anything to appeal on it.
Ineffective counsel is not an appealable issue to this woman?
Well, I thought so, but again, that's what she wrote in the court order. She said it was not appeal. I could not appeal it.
Well, you still can file a motion, a notice of appeal of the denial of the 2255 motion. You could still file to appeal that, and on the grounds that she's out of her mind, that ineffective counsel is not an appealable issue anymore.
Okay.
I'm sure the Bar Association would lose their minds if that was the case, because they get, lawyers get plenty of work in criminal proceedings, based on when they're helping clients based on on ineffective counsel, that the previous attorney didn't do their job.
Right.
It's a huge gravy train. So yeah, that's dead. So that's pretty much dead in the water. So you would have to file an original petition for writ to challenge the original conviction. Was there a trial initially, or?
No, I had pled out. I pled out to the initial charge, but then when I got my when I went to when I got behind the wall, I started doing my actual legal work, and I found all of these holes. I mean, literally, I spent most of my time in the law library, so I found like 16 different holes of things that should have happened in my case that didn't, and then I addressed them appropriately in the 2255, and it took them it took them 7 months for me to even get the evidentiary hearing.
Jeez. Yeah, the only thing I can think of is to file an original, like a petition for a writ to get that original judgment thrown out for ineffective counsel, which is an appealable, it is a serious due process violation. I mean, they're officers and counsels of the court. So,
Right.
yeah, it's long been held. And in fact, that's one of the big things about the death penalty is because not only do you have such serious due process violations by prosecutors, but you've got such bad counsel by attorneys, where the only reason why somebody is in jail is because their attorney screwed them, or in some way.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that I could, I could think of right now. If there was something else, and I'd mention it on the show. But you can contact me off air, and if I have anything else where I can help you with that petition, I certainly, will.
I would love it because, like I said, I started mostly, like I still have all my documentation, and I've been trying to get the actual, because, again, it's pretty easy to see. He said A, B, and C during the sentencing. And then when I attacked him, he said, well, the reason why I did it is because we thought he was going to do A, B, and C. You can't have it both ways. I mean, he's lying to the court, and it's right there in paper and pencil.
Yeah.
And, like I said, the interesting piece was when I tried to bring it up to the court, on the record, as soon as I made that statement, she shut down the hearing. And
you got a transcript of that?
Immediately.
Do you have the transcript?
No, I'm going to try to pay for the transcript. They were, I'm going to get the transcript. Okay. I've been home for 4 months at this point, but it's right there.
Yeah, you're going to need to get that. So. You definitely need to get that. Yeah, so that's what I can do. So I do appreciate the call. I want to be able to get at least one more caller before the end of the show. And I'm not going to get to talk about the IRS, what happened today. I talked a little bit, but hey, I'll do another separate video for that.
All right, and thank you. And if I need to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you about this?
MarkStevens.net is the website, and then you've got Skype is Frank Rizzo 3. And then you can email me at markstevens@mail.com.
Thanks very much. I appreciate your assistance in this matter.
Not a problem. Glad for the call, Roger.
Take care. Thank you.
Yep. I don't know if I just dropped the wrong call or what. So I really apologize. So we've got 12 or so minutes left over here. I hope that wasn't me. Maybe they just weren't able to stay on the line anymore. I appreciate everyone's patience. If I screwed up, let's see. If I screwed up, please call back. I was thinking that might be worth it just to do a separate video anyway for these IRS people, because I want their names in the title. I want to be able to look, hopefully in this video here, that I'll have pictures of these people. Because even after all these years that I've been doing this, and again, I do not like bullies. And if I can give people the tools to defeat a bully's attack, that's why we do this. All right, here we got him back. I'll do a separate video for the IRS, but suffice it to say for today, to lie to somebody, knowing that they are, and they've called you out, and you continue lying, and you don't even defend the lie. I'm not lying. I'm not. Wow. That's why. That's why I say anybody who's ever dealt with the IRS knows you are dealing with a hardcore criminal. They don't give a damn. Anyway, I'm glad he's called back. Looks like we have Austin, but welcome back to the No Stay Project. You're now live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Peace, Mark, man. This is Gerard Johnson out of Austin, Texas, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. How you doing today?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm undefeated with all the paperwork, with the affidavits, with my motion to dismiss, my Brady request. I'm undefeated, but I'm with this, except for with Harker Heights, man. It's out in Killeen, like the Fort Hood area. This judge he's taking me all the way to jury trial April 26th. Now I use every technique that I use in the coach the Skype thing. You know, I said, okay, you know, prosecutor, is this statute and code compliance with the Constitution? And the last judge, he was like answering. He looked at him like answering, you know. And then prosecutor just went to the next. He went to something else. So
wait, okay, but all right. So you've got the judge who's trying to do the right thing and hold the prosecution to their burden of proof, and he says to you, okay, and the prosecutor moves on to something else. Okay, did you object and move to strike whatever he said is completely irrelevant garbage? I mean, what do you do here? You don't let the guy. Don't tell me you let the guy off the hook.
Well, I didn't know to go for you know what I'm saying, to go for objection, because I really wasn't coached on that, you know, about, you know, if he tried to go to something else, I really didn't know to do that. He just said, well, because first it started out, I said, okay, because this is a brand new judge, Tony Costa, because the one you did was for Tony Costa, and then this is a new judge, Mr. I forgot his last name is Williams, so this was a new judge. So, you know, the new judge came in and said, appreciate it. The new judge came in and said, hey, do you understand the nature and cause of the charges that's brought up against you? And I said, no, sir, I do not understand. He said, well, what do you not understand about? I said, well, I don't understand what jurisdiction I'm being tried under. Am I being tried under common law jurisdiction?
You see,
criminal?
Gerard, I don't do things like that. I counsel people. I don't get into stuff like that. You don't want to mix the stuff. Mm-hmm. You want to just go after.
Well, you know, like I said, I did a couple of sessions with you with the Skype team, you know, with everybody on Skype. But also, you know, this guy that actually is trained under you is Amali Kambar. He actually, you know, was talking about challenge jurisdiction as far as like trying to figure out am I being challenged on a common law jurisdiction, which is criminal, meaning that I've caused hurt, harm, or danger to a person, or am I being tried on a civil admiralty maritime?
No,
which is basically international contract and dispute.
But you see, none of that stuff. Even no, I don't see any merit to it. I don't get into that. I don't think anybody should. I did that sovereign citizen, freeman, patriot, 90s kind of stuff, and it goes nowhere. The bottom line here is, and they admit this, Gerard. They admit that it's based on their constitution. So whatever you call the jurisdiction, common law, admiralty, whatever you call it, the foundation is based on you're physically in Texas. The Constitution applies. So there's no evidence to prove that. That's why they argue, and critics will actually argue with you that we are stupid because that is not capable of being proven. No kidding.
So never go in with the hey, what jurisdiction I'm being tried under, because Amali Kabar was telling me to challenge jurisdiction and let them know what jurisdiction that according to the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution, or the Article 3 and 4 says you have either criminal jurisdiction or the civil jurisdiction. You know, those are the only two that the courts grant, that the federal Constitution grants the courts.
Well,
you know,
but
those JP courts and administrative courts.
No,
I mean, they're only administrative. They're not even legitimate courts.
Oh,
anyway,
no! Don't buy into that. That there haven't been any judges in 1789. They're all administrators. That is just. Look, they are employees of the government, and to me, that's all that's necessary. And they're operating on the Constitution, a written instrument. Nobody bothered to sign. So none of that stuff matters. You want to go just on what the prosecution is actually attacking you with and using to attack you. We know territorial jurisdiction and personal jurisdiction. We know without any doubt whatsoever. You're physically in Texas, the Constitution applies. It's an X equals Y, argument. There's no evidence whatsoever to support that. So stick with that. This idea of common look. The reason why I get into certain things is because they can actually agree to this, and we know that's how they're doing it. We know that they say it's an adversary proceeding. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You call them on the phone, or you ask them that directly, except in California. They'll tell you it's an adversary system. But to come out and turn around and say, well, you're charging me in the middle of Texas with an admiralty code, they're like, oh, you're out of your mind? We're not doing that. Now, yes, I know that they're serial liar. I know that they lie, but there are certain things that they don't typically lie to you about. And whether and they're not lying by saying it's that it's admiralty or or the fringe on the flag. No, you got to clear
I don't
all that stuff out.
Flag. That's one thing I don't, because that really is irrelevant. But like I said, even with your paper, like with the Salado thing, when you gave me those motions to dismiss, the affidavit. And
well, I didn't give you an affidavit, no, Gerard. I don't use affidavits 99% of the time. No, I can guarantee you, if you used an affidavit, you weren't following the way I do it, because I don't believe you and I have a burden of proof. It's extremely limited circumstances where it's necessary to put in an affidavit. But the overwhelming majority of
affidavit living status. Hold on, I got it on my phone.
You see, but I don't know. No, Gerard, you're killing me. No, we don't do anything like you and I do not have a burden of proof. It's the path of least resistance. Use logic. The burden of proof is on the accuser. If you start making statements or you start putting in affidavits, you have to prove that stuff. And bottom line here, Gerard, nobody gives at least in that world, nobody gives a damn what you have to say in an affidavit. Nobody cares. It has no relevance whatsoever on the case. Your statement of status, unless you are a diplomat, that they are going to recognize that the laws don't apply to you, they don't care.
Well, like I said, Malik Kabar gave me this stuff, and he said he got it from your website. So I got your motion to vacate hearing, and I got he said he got the affidavit of living status. He said, I got all this from Mark Stevens.
No, he
didn't. Like that. Challenges jurisdiction, Brady request. I'm looking through my phone right now. So
all right, we're very limited on time. But Gerard, we're limited on time here.
Yeah.
If you get the motion to dismiss, you get the motion to dismiss template that's crossed over for Texas. You get the discovery request that's also mostly crossed over for that. There's a few things you have to put in. You get the motion in limine, and you get an unsigned plea of guilty. Those are the 4 documents you get. Now, I suggest that when people do this, they call the show. They keep us in, like what we had with Jeff in Iowa calling in. Keep us in the loop on what's going on. And if it's necessary down the line, then I can then send you a template for a motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct.
Okay.
I don't do this status stuff.
So you don't do affidavits. So he was just basically telling me that he got it from you, which he really didn't.
The other things you mentioned, he may have gotten from me, but the affidavit of status, nope. And I go on record, and I know people keep saying don't say sovereign citizen. I'm going to keep saying it because that is how people are classifying you. I know there's no such thing as citizens. I get that. And I know it's a contradictory term.
Uppercase, there's no such thing. Yeah, I understand that.
But I'm using that to describe a certain group of people that make certain arguments that we've debunked on the show many times. So what I would suggest doing is stick to the arguments they're actually making against you, and hold them to that burden that because the accuser bears the burden of proof, and keep your focus there. You want to know if they have a witness with personal first-hand knowledge of the matters they're testifying to, which include, of course, that you violated the law. Well, if he's testifying that you violated the law, he's testifying that the laws apply to you. Does he have personal knowledge of that? And
so this is an example, like me going into Denny's, and just because I'm physically in Denny's, the rules and policies that the Denny's have apply to me just because I'm physically there. I mean, that's just like an example.
No.
Use that same example.
It's not. It would be the same. It would be the same example if Denny's was trying to dictate rules on what you're doing on your own property.
Yeah.
Okay. If you go into Denny's voluntarily, then it's understood that you're going to abide by their rules that are there in good faith to protect the patrons and whatnot. But somebody here is saying I haven't debunked a damn thing. I don't have the time in this particular show.
Yes, you have. I don't know what that dude is talking about because I'm undefeated because of your paperwork. So,
well,
I don't know what he's talking about.
I do appreciate that. I like, if you can send me some documentation. But in a few moments
I got you.
that we have.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the you said Mark Stevens at mail.
At mail.com.
Okay, I'm gonna send you the stuff that he sent me. Said he got it from your website, so I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
So you can look over it.
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you, Mark. Oh, I got one more thing to mention. When we retrial, right? So even the prosecutor asked for a motion to limit. That means he wanted limited evidence, right? So I want to know what he's because I asked for the oath of office right then and there. I said, "What's your oath of office?"
You know that stuff. And, you can go to personnel and you can get that stuff. And if they don't have a valid oath of office, then it's certainly something you can bring up. But the motion in limine, if he is filing his own motion in limine, he's trying to limit the arguments and evidence you can raise.
Oh.
Yeah, the motion in limine limits the evidence and arguments a party can raise because they don't have any evidence or it's overly prejudicial. Okay, so we file a motion in limine based on the prosecution's lack of evidence to support their claim that just because you're physically in Texas, the laws apply to you, and by their own admission that they don't have evidence and don't need evidence, so they shouldn't be allowed to argue that. So if you've got him hitting you with one of those, it's more than likely he's got you branded as a sovereign citizen. I know it's contradictory, everybody. Please stop with those comments. But he's probably labeling you that as a freeman on the land. So that's something I would like to see because he's going to probably explain in there exactly why he's asking for that.
Yeah, so. But I'm hoping he would just give me I'm hoping because I resubmitted your motion to vacate hearing and stuff like that, because I'm like, this is overdrive with license invalid. So,
okay.
Y'all gonna read. This is the third time I've been in court, so have a good night.
Well, you've done pretty well so far, but don't mix the two things up. Just stick to the principles of logic, holding the prosecutor, the accuser, to their burden of proof. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
So okay.
I got.
I'm gonna email you real quick then.
Okay, sounds great. I got to jet. Appreciate the call and good luck. Keep in touch. Let us know what happened. My name is Mark Stevens. I'm sorry I cannot get to everybody. I didn't even get a chance to talk about the IRS much here, but I do want to point something out here. When it comes to the freeman sovereign type arguments that people have, we have thoroughly debunked those arguments on this show every single time somebody has come on the broadcast, and you're welcome to come on. Every single time we've had you on the show, people like that. When you request the evidence, they can't give it to you. Same thing as the birth certificate being a bond that's sold on the stock exchange. Not a single shred of evidence to prove that, and nothing is getting on the stock exchange without a paper trail. You'd be able to prove it. So I have videos. I'm not going to waste all the time. In fact, I have no time on this particular show to do that. But hey, if someone is interested in that stuff, I don't think I want to dedicate the little bit of time on a Wednesday show for that. But if you want to prove that these sovereign freeman type arguments are correct and valid, and that they've been successful, call the Saturday broadcast where we have a lot more time to flesh that stuff out. But here, like today, this was a show which everyone was looking for help, which is what we want to do here, because I can't stand bullies, and we give people the tools to effectively defend themselves in court, and that is by using the Socratic method to challenge their assertions. So like with the IRS here today, and I'll do a separate video about this, they got specific with me and said that I was making a frivolous argument. And I said, so you're telling me just questioning the IRS's factual basis, that is frivolous? Yes. Holy crap. I had an IRS agent tell me on the phone today, just challenging them is frivolous. Talk about these arrogant criminals. And this is not isolated by any stretch. Then she actually was arrogant enough to say that particular argument that she said is frivolous, is just challenging their basis, their factual basis, was actually declared by the courts to be a frivolous argument. So I asked her to cite it, and of course she can't. But I'll go through another video with that, and we'll name names, and hopefully we get some pictures of them up there. But hey, this has been a fun show, another fun show. It's been episode 41 of the No State Project, commercial free here on my YouTube channel. I will be deleting this the live stream video, but we'll have the good video and graphics posted tomorrow or Friday. So don't sweat it. And I won't pull the video until we get the new video ready to be posted anyway. But it's been episode 41, November 8th, from the Fortified Compound in Mesa, Arizona. Glad everyone was able to tune in today. So, but hey, till next time, salud.